Hello, everybody. We're back again with another episode of our Stop and Chat series. I am Matt Manning. I am your host for the day. And today we're going to be going over some of our new Quantum Spark technologies. We have a recurring guest with us. We have Mo Patel. How are you doing today, Mo?
Yeah, I'm good, Manning. All good.
And we have a third guest. This is the first time we've actually had multiple people on today. So we have Antoinette. How are we doing, Antoinette? Oh, we lost you there for a minute. I think you're on mute. Let's try that again.
So, hi everybody. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great to have you here. So obviously, for some of you who have tuned in before, Mo is one of the UK SEs along with myself, and Antoinette is one of our SMB specialists. So we couldn't have a better group of people on the call today. Mo has spent a huge amount of his time, both at Checkpoint and when he worked for other partners, looking into the SMB things. So I know there's definitely something I can learn today. But very specifically, Mo has wanted to go over how to position Quantum Spark like a pro. So we've got a number of different episodes for this. Mo, what are we going to cover in the first episode today?
Yeah, today we're going to look at what we offer in the SMB space, specifically around how can we deploy checkpoint gateways using our zero-touch technology and our security management portal, which is something that's included as part of our Quantum Spark offering. So yeah, we're going to go over that today, talk a bit around what that technology does, how it works, and then we're also going to show a demonstration of using these technologies in real life.
Amazing stuff. So I found that, I'll be completely honest, I always put the SMB things to one side of my mind in terms of the Checkpoint product range. I'd been more familiar with doing some of the more traditional full fat Gaia products, as I call it. And actually, when looking at some of the latest models, I realized how higher performance some of these boxes have, and actually how more relevant they're going to become to sort of businesses. The ability to do 1 or 2 gigabits per second of full threat prevention throughput on a single device is huge, and actually will meet the needs to more and more customers all the time. So I think it's actually more important than ever before that we investigate, we explore this product and this technology and everything. So I think it's really, really good to have this session today.
So what I wanted to start off with today is a bit of a discussion around, where do Checkpoint position our Quantum Spark gateways? And this diagram, does help us kind of answer that question. I'm sure Antoinette and Manning, you'll have some comments on this as well, but we can see what we've got, on these circles here around what does, our brand do best, what is it that customers actually want, and what is it that our competitor does best, and where do we place our Checkpoint gateways in that green winning zone, and how can we help you either as a Checkpoint customer or a Checkpoint partner make sure that your customers are getting the best out of the technology that they are purchasing from us. So I mean, Antoinette, do you have some thoughts on this specific slide around where we position our Quantum Spark gateways in the market?
Yes, I have, and I really love this Venn diagram because it's all about understanding the needs and the pains of the Quantum Spark customers and the branches. What are they trying to overcome? What are the needs? And it starts with good customer engagement, understanding the needs and requirements, know what they are looking for, and then you can position the product at the best.
Absolutely. So yeah, understanding, what are the requirements, what is it that your customer actually wants, and then aligning that to our strengths and abilities within the Quantum Spark portfolio. So when we talk around, Quantum Spark, I'm sure many of you are asking questions around, what do we classify, or who are our target audience and customers for the Quantum Spark gateway? And the answer is quite a broad range. And at a high level, we just wanted to cover off some of those market segments that we target. We can see here on the screen that we've got sort of a small business. Looking at that, it's, a coffee shop, a cafe, or if we're talking something like a branch office. From small businesses, we're talking around anyone from one user up to, maybe 500 users, but it all depends on what specific requirements the business has. So we also cover OT and IoT, the industry, and also telco, ISP, and MSSPs as well. So yes, we're talking about the Quantum Spark gateways, but in reality, we're not just talking about small offices. We cover a very broad range of customer base. And I'm sure Antoinette has some comments on us for the sort of OT and IoT, as this is one of her sort of key and specialist areas. And so the upcoming episodes, we will talk more around the OT and IoT industry. We'll also be talking more specifically around how we can help the telco and MSSPs as well. So yeah, Antoinette, appreciate you could share some comments on this.
Yes, of course. Yeah, on the beginning of the other slide, we saw Bob, the coffee shop owner. And Bob doesn't want to take care of the security. He wants to make sure that everything is in place, automatic remediations and so on. He just wants to make sure that he has an uptime, that his payment terminals are working with the COVID restrictions. Everybody is using his plastic cards to pay. And if you look to the OT environment, that's a different setup. They want to get an alarm, but there's no action required. So it must be completely passive. You can imagine if you're a sewage company or your drinking water company has an outage, that's something that you don't want. And those boxes are really a good, suitable for those environments. And like with telcos, it's a different solution. You want to deliver a black box solution that can manage and maintain the security posture of your customers. So it's 4 different pillars with 4 different needs.
So if we want to look at today around, like I mentioned, zero touch and some of the other capabilities, some of the things that we so want to discuss with you is what we can actually cover as part of our offering. So zero touch technology, being able to deploy a Quantum Spark gateway with very minimal hands-on, in terms of being able to send somebody out to install this. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about being able to deploy this remotely, quickly, with minimal hands-on, using our Reach My Device service. So if something's not available on the internet, we're still able to access this. And then we're going to talk around some of these other features that I'm just going to bring up on the slide here, including the security management portal, which you hear us refer to as SMP. We also have the Watchtower app, which is becoming more and more popular as you're on the move, as you're on the go, being able to manage your checkpoint gateway using a mobile app on your mobile device. And then our SMB offering has and meets the requirement of being able to deploy security out of the box. So nowadays, if we look at the SMB market and what's required from a lot of our customers is something they can take out the box, easily and quickly deploy it, configure it very quickly, and then not have to worry about having to do some very sort of intensive tasks and administration in order to kind of upkeep the security on the boxes. And this is exactly what we offer with our SMB gateways using the Quantum Spark gateways that we have. Using the SMP security management portal, we can do sort of remote and scheduled firmware upgrades. So being able to have a plan inside our portal where you configure your needs and requirements, you configure when you want to upgrade a device, how you want to upgrade it. All of that can be done using the security management portal. And then key things that our customers also want is being able to get a nice report on what's going on with their environment, and also being able to do some of the automatic alerting of their environment. So being able to get a notification when something reboots, when a gateway is rebooting, notification for the internet connection being lost on a gateway at a remote site. These are things that SMB customers nowadays are required to have in their businesses to keep it up and running. Antoinette, do you have any comments on this? I know you've worked with all sizes of customers, ranging from sort of 10 to 50 users all the way up to 500 users. And, if we're looking at this screen here, where do you see sort of our strengths when speaking to our partners and customers about our Quantum Spark offering?
Yeah, I think the top one is out of the box security. By default, we are blocking undesired applications, bandwidth consuming applications. And a customer even told me in the past it's like Duplo building blocks. It's so easy readable, the policy, so you are protected as we as Checkpoint think you should be protected with IPS signatures in place. So we take completely care of the security for you. And that's our USPs that customers love the most. And besides that, you have your orchestration and automation that we can do with the SMP and with the zero touch.
Yeah, that's a really good comment you make around sort of the out of the box security. The fact that we are providing our customers with sort of a recommended security posture to deploy in their environment. So they don't necessarily need to be experts in what's good and what's bad, because we're providing the recommendations as the security vendor that, yes, turn this on, and when you turn it on, you'll deploy it in a recommended format where you'll be secure using what we consider kind of best practice.
Yeah, and if I may add another comment here, we are using the same threat intelligence as our main train, as the big appliances. So the customers, the SMB customers, are benefiting. Are beneficial using the same threat intelligence as well.
Yeah, we don't. That's what kind of differentiates us from some of the other, SMB security vendors and offerings that are out there, is that we don't differentiate between, our enterprise features and SMB. Yeah, there's a little bit of differentiation between what works and what doesn't work quite well. But in terms of the feature set that we have, for the most part, we are taking that enterprise feature set from main train and applying it to our SMB customers, so they can also benefit from, like you say, the same threat intelligence. Okay, so moving on, what we wanted to share here is exactly how we can use the zero touch deployment, the SMP portal, and the Watchtower app that we talked about, and Reach My Device. So this is a nice slide that's going to walk us through the different steps of connecting a Quantum Spark gateway. So here we have, Bob, who's the end user, and he's using our zero touch portal in order to pre-configure his device. So when he actually connects his Quantum Spark gateway into the internet connection for the very first time, it's going to pull down the zero touch template that was configured inside the zero touch portal. Bob can then use the security management portal that we talked about, which holds the policies regarding what features he's going to enable on the actual Quantum Spark gateway. And that's also going to be pushed out to the Quantum Spark gateway. The fact that we've then enabled the Reach My Device service, so a relay service, which would allow Bob to connect to the Quantum Spark gateway should there be some kind of interruption and he's not able to access the device. He's also then able to use the Watchtower app that we talked about to actually manage the checkpoint gateway that he has there as well. So the Quantum Spark gateway can be managed via a mobile app, which makes it really handy for administrators that are on the move, that want to be able to make changes. It's quite common for customers to have IT people who move between different locations, and being able to do something like this on the go is really handy. And then on the right here, we can see the cloud services that are being offered to the Quantum Spark gateways for things like a firmware upgrade service, the blades updates and licensing. All of that is done via the cloud. And as Antoinette mentioned before, the threat intelligence that's being shared, so Threat Cloud on the actual Quantum Spark gateway done via the cloud service. And a nice feature in there is also the pro support that can be used with the checkpoint gateway. And I really like this diagram because it shows how powerful the Quantum Spark gateway actually is, and what services are being offered to the Quantum Spark gateway. So everything from zero touch to the SMP to the mobile app to all the cloud services that are being offered as part of the Quantum Spark offering that we have. Did you have any comments on that, Antoinette?
Yes, the threat cloud is also used as emulation location by default, because emulation cannot be done on the boxes locally. So that will use the same threat cloud where we get our intelligence from.
So moving on, we mentioned quite a few times so far in this episode around zero touch, and some of you may be asking, Mo, what is zero touch that you kind of keep talking around? So let's go over what is zero touch and how it works, and then we'll talk around the security management portal and what it is, and then we'll jump into a live demonstration of configuring the zero touch and SMP as well. So here on the screen you can see some screenshots of specifically what we would configure inside zero touch using the templates that can be configured. So things like what do you want to name the template, who's going to access it, and where is the gateway going to be accessed from. So we talked around being able to deploy this with minimal hands-on, and therefore you want to be able to configure exactly which administrator is going to manage this gateway, for example, across the internet. You can then specify what IP address or IP addresses you want to be able to access the gateway once it comes online, configure the password that you want to use. So those are some of the initial settings that you would configure as part of the template. Then we have the cloud services, as you can see in the middle. And when we talk about cloud services, we're referring to the security management portal, SMP. So here we're configuring whether we want to enable the reach my device settings. And we're going to say, yes, we want to allow connections if the gateway is not reachable from the internet. So using the relay service that we have. And then the SMP activation settings. And this is the important bit when you want to connect the Quantum Spark gateway into SMP without having to do any manual interaction. So here we'd configure the domain and registration key, and then we'd get it to automatically connect to SMP. And then the far right-hand screenshot, which is sort of under the clear scripts, we can then configure as many of the settings as we want to via the command line, and all of this will be pushed down to the gateway as part of the initial configuration when the gateway comes online for the very first time. Now, with zero touch, something to kind of bear in mind is it's not just one template that can be configured. So if you've got different configurations you want to apply to your Quantum Spark gateways, then you can create as many of these templates as you want inside the zero touch portal and then allocate them to the different gateways. So if your remote offices, branch locations want to have different configurations or be assigned to different SMP domains or different SMP plans, then you can do all of this using the zero touch configuration. And this is just a diagram kind of showing the step-by-step process of how the configuration actually works. So as you can see there, number one on the left-hand side here is making sure that your Quantum Spark gateway is assigned to your user center account. That's critical because Zero Touch pulls all the information from your user center account. If the gateway is not inside your user center, you're not going to be able to use the zero touch provisioning service. So step one, make sure the gateway is inside your user center so you'll then be able to see it inside your zero touch portal. Number two, you can see there what we've just talked around the different steps of claiming the gateway and then configuring the template and then assigning the template to the actual gateway. Number three, if we have assigned sort of a clear script, if you have configured some clish commands inside there that will then be applied to the gateway when it's come online for the very first time. And step 4, gateway is fully configured using the zero touch server. So at a high level, we can see there how easy it is to actually use the zero touch provisioning service. As long as the gateway exists inside your user center, you're then able to create the template, claim the gateway inside zero touch, assign the template to a gateway. Gateway gets plugged into the internet connection for the very first time. Configuration is then pushed out to the gateway, and that will apply the template and configuration that was configured inside Zero Touch. Antoinette, did you want to comment on that? I mean, you've probably seen this work many times in the field with customers. We've seen it sort of time and time again of how easy it is to actually use this and how it works for SMB customers who may not have advanced technical resource in their business, and the success of using a service like this.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And I really love that you're highlighting this because you just simply ship a box to a location. The only thing that's needed, it has to be without a configuration because by default, every box will reach out to the Zero Touch portal with its MAC address that's in the code. So no worries about that. It's default behavior. And then you can claim it. It has to be in the right user center account, as you said. And there's another cool feature in Zero Touch as well. If you have an RMA, if you have a faulty appliance, we don't have that many, but in case there is a water leakage or, for example, and you need to replace it, you can just ship a new box to the location and proceed an RMA procedure with those boxes, and you are good to go. And I really like it. And guess what? Another thing that I would like to share is that Zero Touch is now also available for main train gateways. We started with the SMB, the Quantum Spark gateways, but now every checkpoint gateway has Zero Touch by default.
And then moving on to the Security Management Portal, SMP. So we talked around being able to have a portal where you can assign different plans and policies to your Quantum Spark gateways, and this is essentially what the Security Management Portal is doing. So a central portal that's accessed via the internet, so it's not something that is locally managed. It's a central portal that is available on the internet. However, we create specific domains for you as a customer. So you are then able to assign your gateways into your specific domain inside the security management portal. This portal is then used to manage multiple gateways from hundreds to thousands, or if you've only got a handful, it can also manage a handful of gateways as well. And that's why it works so well for different sized customers. There's no kind of limitations in terms of you have to have X number of gateways in order to be able to use the security management portal. Being able to assign different policies, and inside the security management portal, we actually refer to policy as a plan. So each individual plan can be configured bespokely and as granular as you want to assign different type of services, different blades to be enabled to different gateways, and we'll actually look at this in the demonstration that I'll actually show you as well. Being able to assign different type of roles to users. So if you wanted some users only to be able to actually have only read-only access, to something that we can also offer as part of the security management portal. So a very comprehensive management portal that we offer with the Quantum Spark gateways. So we'll now jump into a demonstration where I'll actually show you how we can configure Zero Touch and how we can also configure SMP to work with Zero Touch, as I mentioned, using the cloud services. And we'll also do a walkthrough of the features inside the security management portal. Okay, so here we're now logged into the Zero Touch portal. So you can see here we're just browsing to zerotouch.checkpoint.com. And once I've logged in here, you guys can see there's a drop down here to select the different user center accounts. This one is mine, which has my Quantum Spark gateways inside. And this is exactly what we talked about before. So I'm making sure that your user center has your Checkpoint Quantum Spark gateways located inside, so you're actually able to claim the gateways. And you can check this by going to the inventory tab, and what we'll see here is the different gateways that you have. So you can see here I've got two 1590s located here, and I also have a 3200 here as well. And specifically we'll be using this Quantum Spark gateway today. So the first step that we're going to do is configure a template, as we talked around doing the initial configuration. So we'll click new small office gateway here. We'll give it a name. We'll give it a nice. And you can put a comment in here if you want to assign a comment to the actual template. I'm going to tick the box that says send data to Checkpoint. Wireless country has been selected as UK, and we can select a time zone inside here as well. And I'm going to use Checkpoint NTP servers. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to allow access from the LAN and the internet, and I'll put in a password inside here. And then we're going to move across to cloud services, and here I'm going to allow it to do the reach my device. And here, this is where we're going to configure our security management portal activation settings. So here I'm going to switch to the security management portal and show you where to get this information. So the IP address or DNS, which is the name of the URL that we use. Service domain is the domain that's actually allocated to us as a customer. So if I look at this as my domain here, and the domain name is located over here. Then we have a registration key. And we can see here there's a tick box to automatically create the gateway inside SMP. I'm going to tick that. So again, removing an additional step of having to create the gateway inside SMP. So Zero Touch is going to configure this gateway and tell it to connect into SMP using the registration key and the plan name that I've assigned. So if I come back to my SMP portal here, I go down to plans, and you can see here I've got multiple different plans configured. We're just going to use the one name home. Under here, we can see gateway activation, and we have the tick box that says allow automatic gateway creation and a registration key here. So we're going to copy the registration key and paste that in here. Then it asks us for the plan name, and this is the name that we've assigned to the plan, which is this one over here. And under Clish configuration, if I wanted to add any additional configuration, I can paste that inside here as well. For now, I don't have anything, so I'm just going to leave that blank. And I'm going to click apply on here. We can see here that's been created over here. We can now go down to claim a gateway. So under inventory, we're going to select the gateway that we want to configure, which is this one over here. I'm going to click claim. We can give it another name if we wanted to. I'll just leave that blank, leave it as default as what it's already set. And under here, we can see I can select the templates that I have configured. This is the one we've just configured right now. I'm going to apply that. We can see it has successfully claimed the gateway. So now the gateway is ready to be powered on for the first time. And once it gets the internet connection for the very first time, it will then actually start updating this page. So on this page, what we will see is the deployment status will be updated when it starts to come online, and things like the status update and IP address will also be updated. So I'm going to plug my gateway in now. You'll be able to then refresh the page so that you'll be able to see it as it goes through that process. So we now can see here gateway is successfully downloading the configuration, and that's the initial step. We can see here the last updated time, and we can see the IP address that's been allocated to the gateway. And the deployment status will actually update throughout this process as well. So currently we see the gateway successfully downloading the configuration. In a few minutes, it will update to show connected to SMP. So we can see now the deployment status has been updated. We can now see it says connected to SMP. So the gateway has successfully downloaded its configuration and it's now connected to SMP. So if we now jump to our security management portal, we should be able to see it appear inside the portal. And here we're on the overview page. We can see here one gateway connected. We can actually click on the link here to take us to the gateway tab. We can see here this is the gateway that we configured earlier using Zero Touch. So this is a live demonstration. I've walked you through exactly configuring the template. We then connected it to SMP, and we can see it's now appeared inside the SMP portal. So just a little bit around, what we can do inside the SMP portal, and we look at one of the plans we've got configured, the one we assigned to the gateway, the home plan. So under here, we've got things like being able to configure the device settings, the software blades, and other services. And Antoinette mentioned before around the fact that this is very much an out-of-the-box security solution. And we can see here we've turned on the application control and URL filtering. So we have literally clicked the button to turn it on. And we've got pre-configured policies here to block security risk categories, block inappropriate content, block file sharing, and block any other undesired applications. And this is straight out of the box that you can configure all of these categories. From a firewall perspective, again, we have turned it on and we have the option to have a strict or standard policy. We can turn logging on for block traffic or allowed traffic. So very much depends on what you want to configure, but it's really easy to configure the different settings for the software blades that we have. If we jump to the unified threat prevention policy, here, one single policy which you can either do custom settings for or deploy in recommended. As we mentioned before, we give you the ability to deploy this in recommended mode. From a services perspective, we can choose, as we mentioned before, to configure different firmwares for different gateways. So you could have multiple plans for different gateways and select the firmware that you want to run. You can choose to deploy the latest firmware that we offer inside the portal to the gateway. You can also do a gradual upgrade or manage the firmware locally on the device. So if you wanted to not manage the firmware through the security management portal, you can do that through here. We can then do reporting, so being able to send daily, weekly, and monthly reports, as you'd expect, a very comprehensive report to show what's going on your gateways. We also have notifications, as I mentioned at the start. We can then create notifications to be sent out for security incidents, networking incidents, and operational events. So, as a customer, as a partner, as an MSSP, you want to be notified of unexpected reboots, the primary internet connection has gone down, anything around any malicious activities or incidents. So you can select the different notifications here. Under setup, we also have the ability to configure which IP addresses are actually allowed to browse and SSH to the Quantum Spark gateways as well. So, as we have on the main train, being able to control who can actually access based on IP address. And lastly, under the plans, we have the ability to also create CLI scripts. So just like Zero Touch, we can also deploy CLI commands using the planned configuration. You can see in this example, I've actually configured the Blade update schedule inside here. So when a gateway picks up this policy, this plan, it actually executes these commands that I have inside this box here. From a login perspective, the gateway logs are here inside the security management portal. We won't really see any logs here because this is a demo environment. We have some here from today, and we can see here different events that it has logged. We can double click on one and open up to see more details. So we can expand this out and drill into more detail as to why this specific traffic session was dropped. And we have the cyber views, so being able to view infected hosts, prevented attacks, and attack trends inside the security management portal. So hopefully you've been able to see how comprehensive this security management portal is and how rich the feature set is inside this portal. It really is a dedicated portal to manage the Quantum Spark gateways using this solution.
That's a great demo. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I really like that you touched on the cyber views. We can even do reporting of the cyber views on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So you know what your security posture will look like. You can double click it with the log cards that will open and will tell you what's going on in your network. And one thing I want to highlight as well is about VPN. You can add any type of brand VPN to the SMB domain and exchange certificates and then watch the VPN in the SMB. So that's supported.
Okay, that's a really cool feature.
That's awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much, Mo, for taking the time to go through that with us today. I know that there are lots of partners and customers out there who are looking at sizing appliances, and more often the SMB devices come up, and they're so familiar with Smart Console, and and as we know, sometimes for smaller organizations, Smart Console can be a lot really. There's a lot to it. And actually, what they are looking for is something a little bit more out of the box. And then as their business grows, they're in a situation where they want to be able to manage multiple devices from that platform that they've become accustomed to. And we're seeing more and more of our partners are starting to adopt the SMB platform and the SMP portal as a go-to for their kind of day-to-day needs and everything. So thank you so much, Mo, for going through the demo. Thank you so much, Antoinette, for your expertise and insight into that. You know way more about this than I certainly do. So it's been great to have you on the call today. And I think that's everything. So like I say to everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please leave comments in the videos. We will always get back to them. And if you have any further questions, reach out to your account manager if you're a customer. And if you're a customer or partner of ours, reach out to your SE, either myself, Mo, or whoever's assigned to you. So thank you ever so much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.